Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Broadband Universe podcast. I am Craig Corbin, and it is a pleasure to welcome my guest today, Mr. Trent Edwards, the Executive Vice President of the Mears Group. And Trent, welcome to the Broadband Universe.
Craig, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. There is so much going on. We had a chance to visit a couple of months back at the Broadband Communities event there in Texas, and my goodness, really enjoyed learning a little bit about what you guys are doing right now. But to say that you're busy would be an understatement, I would I would say. But just for those that don't know the Mears Group story, give us that 30,000-foot overview.
Yeah, so Mears was a company that was originally founded in the telecom industry.
Okay.
It was purchased by Quanta. And we've been with Quanta and expanded into, what I say is the underground portion of Quanta. It's kind of the easiest way, which is, obviously not true and is true. But, it's just that's where we focus, in the oil fields, underground, electric, gas distribution, and obviously telecom, which we do aerial also. But, it's just an easy way to explain Mears. But Mears is an outstanding company, family-owned company. Values have carried through and aligned well with the Quanta values, and we're excited to be back in this. And really, it's a great time. Like you said, it's an outstanding time to be us at this point.
No doubt. My goodness, the next 5-10 years are just going to be absolutely wide open with regard to construction. And when we talk about with Mears being a premier provider of not just the construction services, but engineering and design as well, part of the conversation, I think, when we talk about what will be sort of the mad rush to get so many different projects on the board, it's being able to sort of rethink the process, if you will, and talking about the fact that you got a lot of folks that may never have been through the process of building out a network. From your perspective, what's the most important aspect of that entire process?
Well, I think, I would submit to you there's a couple things, right? Let's just talk about the two most difficult things, in my opinion, of a construction job of this magnitude is the startup and the closeout. The start and the finish. We are good at getting everything in the ground, and that's what we do, and we practice it all the time. So that's easy for us, and usually goes fairly smooth during the process. Now, when I say startup, I'm talking about getting your budgets aligned correctly, make sure that everything is covered. And then the permits, and the communication with the community, the communication with the municipality, what is actually going to take place, locates, making sure that everybody understands the impact that we're bringing into the network and how they're going to locate their existing infrastructure for us to be successful and keep going. And then the other thing that a lot of people don't think about is, I guess they think about it, but it's not on top of the mind, is maintaining that network after it's deployed. Yep. That's a huge operating expense cost that continues on, to manage it, to do all your civil moves, all the maintenance of the plant, squirrel chewing, fiber optic cable. So a lot of cost goes into that. And, I would submit to everybody, like, that's where we as a construction expert, it's key to engage us early, where we can help with those planning opportunities and just the guidance of going forward with your plant.
The two words you just mentioned, planning and guidance, and I think that's so important for when you're talking about the complexity that goes into creating a fiber broadband network. It's not a simple process, and
no,
again, back to the point that so many of these folks are looking for guidance and help in that process, and I know that you've got a great team that helps them with that.
Yes, sir, we do, and it's I would say planning too. Just understanding the alignment of all those processes, the designs of your network and what actually can be constructed compared to what's on paper and what's in the real world. And, it's if you take the time up front, you will be successful.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest components of the process obviously is having the manpower in order to make this all happen. And when we look at just using the BEAD allocation, better part of $43 billion in projects that will be happening all over the country, there's obviously a shortage of manpower. How do you deal with making sure that you've got a workforce in place to handle these projects?
Hey, Craig, I was telling someone the other day, and I was kind of saying it tongue in cheek, but that's a huge problem. I mean, if companies say they have people today, they're either lying or are they are not very good. It's one of those things that we have to focus on and address. Now, I can only speak for Mears and Quanta, and
Right.
We are doing a lot of proactive things. We're very involved in the military recruiting. That's a great environment for us to get folks in training. But training and recruitment is where we're focusing. So if you take training, we have the Lazy Q Ranch, that we have live environments out there that we can really bring, folks in, put them in live environments on the ground, train, and then out to the field. To get the OJT and to learn the real atmosphere with trucks driving by you and all the environments that we deal with every day. It creates the opportunity to promote our safety culture and our safety expectations. It promotes an opportunity for our quality expectations and culture around that, and our production. Obviously, we're here to create production and hit the timelines and schedules. We have Northwest Lineman's College, which we train a lot of aerial folks through that. That's a Quanta-owned company. And then the recruiting piece is, we are aligned with a lot of military recruiting, different recruiting opportunities. We're aligned with universities to really bring some folks in, and that's a challenge in itself with the younger generation. Making construction, sexy. Where they like it, they want to do it, and really realize the career. That it's not just digging in the ground. You're actually changing lives. You're making things better. You're enhancing the world around you, and we're really promoting that and seeing a lot of success with the younger generation coming on and doing like we did when we were young folks.
Absolutely. Well, that is so exciting to hear you say that, because I'm a big fan of Mike Rowe, who is a huge proponent of getting that younger generation focused on the advantages of being able to get into an industry and have phenomenal long-range opportunity to advance within that industry. And goodness knows there will be unlimited chances for folks to take advantage of that. The other thing that you mentioned that I think was very key, and that was actually going to be the next thing that I asked you about, you referred to the focus on safety, and that is such a huge component of what is necessary in any endeavor. The good folks at the NATE that do the tower work, they're very focused on safety, but having that mindset each and every day for each and every man and woman that are out there representing Mears, I know is a huge importance for you.
Absolutely. It's the top importance.
Yeah.
We sacrifice nothing over safety. We are who we are. We do not apologize for that. We have our culture. And if you want to work with us, these are the expectations. We're not trying to, hold anybody back. We just want everybody to come home safe. We want the community to be safe. We want the project to be successful.
Well, and you touched on the word community, and being able to, when all these projects are sort of on the drawing board, having community buy-in is another consideration that I know that is part of the readiness for any project success. Talk a little bit about that, if you would.
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely important to us.
Yeah.
If we communicate up front, because it's dusty, it's dirty, it's
Yep.
disruptive,
Yeah.
and people have an expectation of what's their yard and what's really the right of way,
Sure.
and it that education around that. Not holistically, but as you're entering a subdivision, as you're entering an area, making sure that the community is aware of what's going on, and then take it up larger, the municipality, the city, the county, the water department, the sewer department, the electrical provider, all your providers, everybody needs to know what's happening, what's coming in, and they do through the permit process, but just that little layer of communication up front goes a long way to help everybody understand what actually you're doing and the impact along in the schedule of that impact of what you're doing. Always brings success for us.
Awesome. You're watching the Broadband Universe podcast, brought to you by Lit Communities. Light up your community. You deserve better internet. My guest today, the Executive Vice President of Mears Group, Mr. Trent Edwards. Of course, Mears, the premier provider of engineering, design, and construction services, and talking about so many things in this conversation, and one in particular, when we talk about the opportunity to have multiple projects going on, clustering, I guess would be the term, cross municipality lines. That's something that I'm sure you guys are going to see a lot more in the future. Talk about how that will affect your operations.
Yeah, and I think that, I hope we see it,
Right.
because like we are, I hope that we understand that, to bring scale, we're going to have to do some of these things that we haven't done historically. And like, if you want, like I'm a company that, I don't fit everybody.
Right.
We have to mobilize people and do things. Some of these jobs are small. We're focusing on the rural environment, right? The rural communities. So I think it would be very beneficial, and you hear us, evangelizing it quite a bit around clustering for people, to work together, bring scale, figure out a way to maintain these networks after they're, have folks that can operate larger scale networks and continue on with supporting these after we're wrapped up and gone. But I would submit to everybody that would be an approach that I would seriously consider. And I think that
No, just to interject real quick, is that something that you are beginning to see more often?
we haven't seen it to date, really. People are planning their
Okay.
networks in isolation. I mean, just like any other thing, it's a race a lot of times on who can do what or who can, line up assets or whatever, materials, etc. But it's something that we as Mears are evangelizing. I think it'll be very successful for these rural communities to do and bring scale and acceleration to these network builds.
When you talk about evangelizing the Mears Group story, obviously a huge part of that now is Heather Gold. Of course, folks in the industry know her from so many years as the president and CEO of the Fiber Broadband Association with her consulting firm, and now serving as your vice president of external affairs. What's it like having Heather on board at Mears Group?
Well, if you know Heather, then you know what it's like. And I joke, Heather and I have been friends for 20 plus years. I have huge respect for Heather, and she has a skill set that we needed. With what's happening today, I was able to talk her into coming over and working with us, and we're extremely grateful. We love Heather. She's a dear friend of mine, and also, like you said, everybody in the industry knows her. We have fun. She aligns perfectly with our culture, and she's bringing a lot of value to what we're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely, and so passionate about what's going on. I don't know that there's anybody in the industry that has more passion for finding ways to bring success to folks all over the place. And to your point, she absolutely is a dynamo, and I can see where she is a huge addition to the team there at Mears.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for
Let's
recognizing her.
Oh, absolutely. My goodness, she had the opportunity to visit with her recently, and one of the things that I think was interesting to me in that conversation was talking about what a huge percentage of any of these projects going forward directly is construction, and I can't remember the exact percentage, but it's a big number. 70+%,
Yeah.
I'm guessing,
Yes.
is
Yes,
a
sir.
ballpark.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that's something that is a huge part of it. And then when we talk about the mechanics of making it a reality, in many cases there will be RFPs for consulting and engineering services. Walk us through partnerships that might exist in that realm.
Yeah, this is something that I'm extremely passionate about. You talk about it, Heather's being passionate about what she does. This is something I'm extremely passionate about, and we're really trying to push this story out there. Construction, a minimum 70% of your cost,
Yep.
and if not more, depending on your architecture, your topology of what you're trying to deploy and how you're trying to deploy it. And historically, we're brought in through an RFP process. Costs are already budgeted. Designs are high level in place to bill of materials. And I think there's a huge value with the amount of money and strict budgets that are coming out and going to be held to. That we need to really firm that down, really understand what the difference between what's on a piece of paper and what really can be constructed, what value everybody can bring through their partnerships in leveraging materials and cost of materials and truly what's constructible. And so, we submit to everybody and we're pushing, evangelizing, as I said earlier. I don't know where that came from. My dad was a Methodist minister, so maybe.
There you go.
But evangelizing the need for us to come in early and not just be somebody that's bidding on something. And, we want the price to be firm too and be fair and everybody to be successful through this. So
Absolutely. That's the bottom line is making sure that there is success. And one thing that I didn't really ask up front, as far as the footprint that Mears covers, tell us about that.
Yeah, we're nationwide. We're a nationwide player. We operate everywhere. We obviously are stronger in different areas, and I say where we're the most strongest and where we bring more value. With internal resources and the folks that we have partnerships with. Well, I call it the L. So we have sister companies that work in the West Coast and are successful over there. So we let them do that. The Northeast, we have sister companies that are successful in that environment. So we just kind of work. We're strongest through the Midwest,
Right.
Southwest, all the way across Southeast. Virginia down,
Nice.
Indiana over. That's
Nice.
where we're strong. That's where we prefer to be.
There you go.
But if it makes sense and the partnership's valuable, we have the ability to go anywhere. We're Quanta.
And that's the beauty of being such a huge organization, because that does give you flexibility. I have really enjoyed the visit today. Before I let you go, last question, I'll ask you to pull out the crystal ball. Take us 5-10 years down the road with Mears. Where do you see the organization at that point?
Well, I think we'll continue to do what we do, and I think that obviously we will evolve into new technologies and new horizons, and we have a culture of being innovative and strategic, and we're thinking about a lot of things. I'll give you a teaser. Everybody out there, look up MATG, Mears Advanced Technology Group. We've just launched that product set, and we're really excited about that. And then one day, Craig, we'll talk about it, okay?
Looking forward to it, absolutely. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on board here today, and we do look forward down the road to that next conversation. Best of luck to you and the Mears team. Phenomenal work that's being done. so vitally important in this process for the next decade, certainly with respect to what's going on in broadband. But Trent, it's been a treat. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Craig. Good luck to you, everybody out there. We'll see you.
Absolutely. On behalf of Trent, thanks for letting us be a part of your day. We'll see you next time right here on the Broadband Universe. So long, everybody.